Thank you and good afternoon. I'm Hugh Weathers, South Carolina, the Commissioner of Agriculture. Before I ask the Governor to come forward, let me just introduce the folks involved in this press event today. Really, it's the leadership of South Carolina Agri-Business. From Farm Bureau's President David Winkles. From Clemson University's Dr. Askew and Meadows. From the Palmetto Agri-Business Council, Kathy Novinger and Jack Schuler. And from the forestry leadership is Cam Crawford with the association, Gene Kadama with the Forestry Commission, Dr. Jim London, who performed the study that we'll be discussing today. So it is my privilege and to express my appreciation to Governor Haley for her support of agribusiness in South Carolina. We were just talking about our last time, a few times together, been out in the fields either looking at frozen peach trees or tromping through the mud with the floods of 2013. So it's nice to be here today on a very, very positive note, and we in the agribusiness industry appreciate her leadership. So it's my privilege to introduce Governor Nikki Haley.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, we will say it is definitely a great day in South Carolina. We are talking about something that is very true to what South Carolina is and what we've always known, and that's agriculture. And to all my tourism friends and Director Parrish that gets frustrated when I say this, agriculture is our #1 industry. It always has been, and our goal is to make sure that it always will be. You hear me always talking about jobs. Jobs and companies moving in. Well, a lot of what Commissioner Weathers and I are working on are making sure they're agribusiness jobs. What are we doing to do that? Well, we're clearly doing something right, because what we're seeing is the agribusiness has moved up 23% over the last few years, and we want to continue to see it grow. We are looking that it is taking over 10% of our workforce is now related to agribusiness. And it's an industry that we want to make sure we are continuing to move forward in a way that works. I think what this study is going to show is that when you've got an industry that creates $41.7 billion for your state, it's an industry worth paying attention to. And so we will continue to partner. We have Commissioner Weathers working with Commerce as we go forward. We're going to continue to partner with all of our other agencies to make sure that we show that South Carolina is a very strong agribusiness community and state, and one that's going to continue to stay focused on that. So I want to thank everybody that's here with us today, and now I'll turn it back over to Commissioner.
Thank you, Governor Haley, and we've referred to the study, and let me be a little more background. It is an update of a study that was done 5 years ago, where we said, what is agribusiness in South Carolina? How many dollars directly, indirectly, or otherwise does it generate for our economy? At that time, in 2008, or 9 or 8, we learned that agribusiness had a $34 billion impact on our economy, quite substantial. Well, with that information, the leadership of South Carolina Agriculture and Forestry said, what will it take to grow this industry to be even more impactful for South Carolina? So at that time we launched, or we gathered around a goal that said 50 by 20. By the year 2020, could we work together and marshal all of our forces and our resources to grow that industry to a $50 billion impact? And why is that a goal? Not just for the benefit of farmers and agriculture, but the benefit of our state. No matter how we grow our economy, we all benefit from it. So what you're hearing today and getting a report on is an update of the same study, the same methodology done 5, 6 years ago. And as the governor pointed out, through a period of great recession where we all suffered, a lot of industry suffered, agribusiness has grown by 23% since the last measure, from $34 billion to 41.7 billion. Agribusiness, at the very foundation of it, are the farmers and timber growers of South Carolina. Those receipts in the last 5 years have grown by over 50%. So it points out to the partnership that South Carolina farmers have with the value-added industry of South Carolina agribusiness and how it does impact our economy positively. Agriculture and forestry are changing in South Carolina. This study reflects it. If you look into the numbers, you'll see how our livestock industries of poultry has had quite a positive effect. You'll see how our exports have grown by 150% since the turn of the decade. So the progress that we're pointing to from 34 billion to 41 billion is not done without partners. We have great partners in South Carolina. The governor alluded to our partnership with the Department of Commerce. And in the period of time since we've been working with Commerce since 2011, a part of that strategy, we've announced over 4,600 jobs in agribusiness and well over, I think, $1.2 billion of capital investment coming to process South Carolina farm products, South Carolina forestry products here in our state, creating what is now directly and indirectly over 212,000 jobs. So the progress that we've talked about is not without the partnerships that make South Carolina really a great state to work in. But what we really want to speak to is the potential. Where can this industry go? How does it get there? Based on the things we've seen, it's all of the above. We have worked closely with so many of our small farms to create new opportunities for them to capitalize on the local food economy. We talk about certified SC grown, and I hope you recognize that as South Carolina's farmers brand. We work with, as I said earlier, exports, working with the Port of Charleston, where those export numbers are up drastically and very nicely over the last few years. You heard us talk about Commerce with a dedicated project manager there only looking for agriculture and forestry investments to come to South Carolina. Just earlier, with the governor's help, we did the Chef Ambassador program, which highlights agritourism and cuisine in South Carolina, had all ties to farming and food. So there's a lot of partners building this growth that we're seeing, but the potential that's there, that's what we want to speak to and have the general 4.8 million South Carolinians aware of what their next door farmer, their neighbor from the county next door, what all of this added together really means for South Carolina, where it can go. So if in the last 5 years we've grown by 23%, I did the math, and another 23% gets us over our $50 billion goal. So I'm not good at math, but I did do that much. So we think we're on our way. We want to just highlight what this industry means to South Carolina. We appreciate Dr. London from Clemson to perform this study, a very thorough study which you have copies of, and you have an executive summary. So we appreciate your coming to learn about agribusiness, learn about the jobs it creates, the dollars in South Carolina's economy. And at this time, I'm going to just stop and entertain questions for myself, Dr. London, or Governor Haley.
I have a question about, with agribusiness's impact on the state. Just refresh us whether you believe that we should change the state's water withdrawal law to include farms being regulated the same way as other types of businesses.
I believe the law that we have is based on the information in the hopper, so to speak, at the time in 2010. I think we are aware that DNR is currently going out, starting with the Saluda River, but move to the Edisto River, and tell us an update of what that river can support. And based on that, I think it's time, at that time when it's appropriate, to revisit it. I have said before that we have to, you and I visited, we have to stay in discussions and honor all of the areas of growth that need water. I'll remind you and the others that agriculture only uses 2%. The total usage of surface water, about 2% goes to agriculture. So, regardless, it does need the science and an update so we can revisit it. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Doug.
Have you been out west recruiting? Have you been out west recruiting farms?
I've been a lot of places as your commissioner. Last night I was in Mullins. I was recruiting there. No, I have been visiting with farms who've shown interest in South Carolina, those who bring the prospects of processing our farm products. We've had farmers come and look at South Carolina for all the fact that we are a business-friendly state, but what we are hoping for, just as the growth we've seen, it is adding value to South Carolina crops. It's growing more of what we can grow well, but adding value, adding jobs, and some of the folks that we have visited with do have the prospects of bringing processing jobs to South Carolina farm products.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Who asked the question over here?
Sammy Fretman.